match off of the North American servers. At the 12 o'clock position on Metalopolis, we have EG.IdrA. He really doesn't need much of an introduction. The best foreigner Zerg player. One of my favorite players as well. Very nice guy. Got to meet him at MLG Columbus a few weeks ago. IdrA's opponent spawning down at the 6 o'clock position from a pretty new clan, a new team, sixjax. We have DDE. DDE was a pretty unknown player for a long time, but in the past month or two he's been, making a bit more of a name for himself. He did pretty well in the TL Open and made it to the round of 8. I believe he fell to TLO in that tournament. So, apart from that, he does have some other, achievements, some online tournaments, and DDE has been, becoming a bit more known in the Starcraft 2 scene. But regardless of that, I think he's going to really have his work cut out for him. He is going up against, the best foreigner Zerg. IdrA is a sick player, and I don't think it's going to be easy for DDE, but we'll see what he can come up with for us here on Metalopolis. He's going with a very standard opener, getting his refinery just a hair after his barracks. Very standard opening for Terran players, and as soon as IdrA hits 300 minerals, he puts down his hatchery as well. This is a hatchery first build from IdrA. Of course, IdrA is very well aware that this is the MLG version of this map, Metalopolis. The latter version you can spawn in any spawn locations possible, but on the MLG version of this map, the spawn that is disabled would be, DDE here at the south position. Therefore, IdrA cannot spawn over at the 2 o'clock east position here. The rush distance is just too short by foot, and in this particular matchup would be considered imbalanced towards Terran. So, yeah, as such, IdrA is able to confidently put down his hatchery first, and that's the way IdrA likes it. He's a very macro-oriented player, and it makes sense that he's going to want to go for this build. Spawning pool now half complete. He's getting some gas at this point as well. I'd expect that IdrA's going to bank 100 gas, start metabolic boost, and then take the 3 drones off of the extractor. This SCV for DDE scouted this position, this close by air position, and now headed into the main base of IdrA up here at the 12 o'clock. He sees the hatchery first build, he sees the extractor, nothing else really to scout. DDE knows exactly what's going on at this stage. And as such, he has put up a tech lab, and he's going to flip the factory onto the tech lab, quite possibly for Blue Flame Hellions. Quite a viable option to go for. You're going to want to punish your fast expanding hatchery first Zerg opponent. So I think that's what he's going to do. Is he going to get the Infernal Pre-Igniter? I believe he is going to. He's getting Hellions out, and he's probably going to start that upgrade any second. He's also mining just off of 1 gas and going for this kind of 1-1-1 opening. 1 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport into command center. IdrA, on the other hand, just droning up a little bit. Let's take a look at the worker count. Actually, he's only got about a 2 harvester advantage. 4 more drones on the way though, along with metabolic boost. He did end up taking those workers off of the extractor here and putting his spine down at his natural as well. Okay, so no blue flame. He's just gonna do some regular Hellion harassment, or maybe just using this Hellion for scouting. It did get some Zergling kills actually that I missed, so sorry about that. But he does have 4 Zergling kills, pretty solid. Take a look at the units lost, and yeah, so just the 4 Zerglings and the 1 scouting drone earlier in the match, I do believe, are the only units lost for IdrA. IdrA hasn't done very much scouting though. He doesn't know anything that's going on at all. This Hellion gets pushed back by the Spine Crawler and Queen. This is pretty good positioning for the Spine Crawler. Of course, the Spine Crawler range is going to protect the ramp and a good chunk of the natural expansion as well. But DDE not going for any crazy Hellion build. And no Blue Flame Hellions. He's not going to even really go for harassment. These Speedlings get an easy surround. That was a lack of micro there from DDE. 8 drones actually just popped as well. So IdrA droning hard. 4 more drones on the way. 6 more make it. So IdrA really going to have an economic lead here. He's going to have like a boom of units in the next few minutes, and he's going to be able to put a lot of pressure on DDE if that's what he chooses to do. But that's not really IdrA style. This Banshee here for DDE hasn't done any damage just yet. The 4th extractor on the way for EG.IdrA. Lair tech nearly complete as well. These Zerglings do get pushed back. They're not going to want to get caught up with these, you know, with Zerglings, you don't want to engage in and around the mineral line. Whether you got Marines or tanks, in this case for DDE, it's pretty easy to abuse the mineral patches and prevent Zerglings or Speedlings from getting the surround that they really need. I want to also keep an eye out, where did that Banshee go? Oh, the Banshee did it get taken out? Yeah, the Banshee actually did get taken out. Who killed the Banshee? There it is, this Queen. I think the Queen killed it. I do apologize for missing that. This Queen has 1 kill, and unless that's like a scouting worker kill from earlier, I'm about 96% sure that the Queen killed the Banshee. So unfortunately, you know, that Banshee not doing a whole lot of damage. We do have a drop though coming from DDE as well. He's got 7 Marines along with the medevac. Going to try to put some pressure on this 3rd base here. He's just going to check for the 3rd base, and no surprise there. Once again, going up against a macro Zerg like EG.IdrA makes sense to be picking up a 3rd base relatively quickly. 2 more barracks on the way as well for DDE, so very bio-heavy are these Zerglings. And this is what I was talking about not 2 minutes ago. Look at the positioning of these Marines. This makes it very difficult for the Speedlings to get us around. I mean, EG.IdrA is going to have to try, but it's just excellent positioning from sixjax.DDE, and even abusing the high ground here. He spots the high ground with a medevac, gets some pot shots off with the Marines that have you know, been dropped off on the low ground. But now with Speedlings, Banelings, and a Queen, he may want to use that Queen to focus down the medevac while, you know, he prevents the Marines from dropping off with the Speedlings and Banelings. Still harassing the hatchery, but it's not going to be the most fruitful choice there. Just too many hit points on the hatchery. It's not going to be doable. Man, I keep seeing on the minimap, DDE really relentless here. And you know what? Every little bit of damage helps. I mean, this hatchery now down to half health. And, oh, finally these mutas are going to do it. These mutas are going to take out the medevac. This is going to be really bad news. Oh, DDE, you got to drop your Marines, man. This is slight miss micro there. Rather costly. If he had dropped off all those Marines, they would have been able to take out at least 1 or 2 mutas. A lot of tanks out already, a lot of Marines, no Marauders. And yeah, he's just going to use the tech lab on one of his barracks to get out combat shields now that Stimpack research is complete. He's also getting +1 attack for his infantry. DDE, though, pretty confined to the bottom of his base. He does have another medevac up here, and 62 harvesters from for EG.IdrA. It looks like the medevac drop tried to take out the Baneling nest, actually. This Baneling nest down to half health, but DDE wasn't able to take it out. The harassment from DDE's medevacs and Marines not being effective at all. These mutas now that are out take out the medevac as well. And yeah, I mean, DDE invested a lot into those kinds of drop harassments, but it just hasn't been that effective. The armory now complete. 4th refinery on the way. DDE, now he's confined to his base, and EG.IdrA has complete map control. Look at this luxurious map control. He's got this El Naga watchtower down here. He's got an Overlord in position to keep an eye out for drops. He's got some muta harassment incoming as well. 3 more mutas on the way. It's going to make a total of about 16. A nice little gaggle of mutas. To quote Tastosis, going to be doing, you know, a lot of just poking damage anywhere that DDE sort of leaves an opening. Mutas can come in, take out low hit point structures, take out reactors, tech labs, supply depots, you know, any missile turrets even at this point without any Marine support are going to go down pretty quickly to that many mutas. And I don't know about the unit composition for DDE. Like, he doesn't even have enough Marines to deal with the mutas. Yeah, he's fallen behind quite a bit, you know, sacrificing units, medevacs, Marines, not doing as much damage as he needs to be doing with his drop play. He, you know, just like the little things, like building that Banshee earlier that didn't really do much damage. Infestation pit on the way, and this is a proxy, not a proxy, sort of auxiliary in-base hatchery is very common. EG.IdrA was talking about this a lot on Inside the Game. And yeah, sometimes you just need that extra larva, especially when you're a Zerg player mining off of 3 complete bases here. But this is going to be a big engagement, okay? This is the turning point in the game. The most important part, let's see here. We've got 24 plus 4 is 28 Marines, 5 tanks, and a couple Thors. These Thors are great for zoning the Mutalisks. This is going to be huge. Meg's statue does get focused down, and this is going to be the big engagement here. Oh no, DDE just moving in way too aggressive. He didn't have those tanks sieged. There's a lot of Marines though. Are these Marines going to be able to do enough damage to the Mutas? It's really a question of sort of what's going to be on the ground for the Zerg player with these Banelings morphing in. And I do believe Baneling's speed completed quite a while ago, yeah. Just double checking that. Sometimes players forget. +2 Muta attack on the way. Ooh, these Marines stimming the whole group of Marines. He's going to focus down this hatchery. That siege tank not sieging up in a favorable position. Nice spread though with the Marines spreading submarines to the high ground. But you know what? That was just a poor engagement. That was not wise at all for DDE. And unfortunately for him, he is now in an absolutely brutal position. DDE should not have stimmed, you know, he had like 30 or 40 Marines. He stims them all and runs over to the 4th base of EG.IdrA, trying to focus it down. That just wasn't a well thought out engagement by DDE, especially against, you know, one of the best foreigners, EG.IdrA. Just wasn't really a wise decision. So at this point, DDE is really going to need to battle back here and do what he can to maybe eke out a victory. Oh, we actually have Hive Tech on the way. I'm sure that EG.IdrA is going to be getting Broodlords. EG.IdrA has vocalized time and time again how useless he thinks Ultralisks are, so I'm sure that he's going to be getting Mutas, but I don't even know if it's going to come to that. This many Speedlings running in, Speed Banelings, a ton of Mutas overhead as well. Everything just rallying in and focusing down the Thors, using the magic box for the Mutas to negate the splash damage of the Thors as well, just to focus them down. A nice trick, that magic box, very important when you've got a big flock of Mutas. If you don't use the magic box, one Thor volley can literally do like 800 damage with a splash. So anyway, we sort of saw how costly, you know, decision making can be, simply put, for DDE. Especially at the end there. The game was very even until the very end with that unfavorable engagement. You know, stimming Marines onto creep, not having siege tanks in position. DDE did not do a good job of leapfrogging his siege tanks, and then just trying to stim in with like 40 Marines and trying to focus down this hatchery just wasn't a good call. Yeah, he got taken out like that, and then even earlier in the game he was trying to drop the 3rd and doing a little bit of damage, but not enough to justify the cost of a medevac plus like 6 or 7 Marines that were in it. He tried dropping the main, that got negated. His Banshee earlier on